I just want to put a disclaimer, okay? It's not the Maverick's fault, all right? The Maverick does not break. It's just this man breaks everything, okay? It doesn't matter what it is, he breaks it. So yeah, I would definitely go visit him. He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, fair enough. So anyway, back to the interview now. So hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Again, another interview. This interview is pretty much about an individual that's helped me out a lot in my flying because I used to own a Parajet Maverick, and the gentleman we're going to be interviewing works for Parajet but has saved my bacon on many occasions because he is a superb logistician, a superb project manager, and we're going to find out more about the man that keeps elements of Parajet going in the background, the unsung heroes of production. More to the point that he is a paramotorist himself, amongst other things, and we're going to delve more into that in the interview today. But we're going to be introducing Mr. Ben Bear Smith. So Ben, please, for those that are new to my channel or those who've been following for a while, please introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about you.
Hi, Giles. Thanks for having me. My name's Ben Smith. I'm the operations manager for Gyro Adventure Sports, or as your viewers probably will know better as Parajet. And yeah, I am in the middle of all of Parajet world. And there's a good chance that, you know, if you're in the flying community and you've bought a product from Parajet, I would have some dealings with it. So yeah.
Brilliant. Before we get into the interview, I've got to ask, where did the bear part of your name come in? Please tell us. I've never actually asked you in person. I've always been confused, or
okay.
I'm really interested to know where it comes from.
Okay, I'll give you the truth. It's slightly embarrassing, but I'll give you the truth. I like to tell people that I fought like 3 bears with my bare hands, you know, and I won, but sadly not. Many years ago, I used to do a lot of fishing. Me and my friend used to do a lot of night fishing. We used to finish work and then you know, say hello to the families and then go night fishing. And we went away for a long weekend, and we were basically very unprepared for the evening, and it got very cold. And
so no prior planning or anything like that.
A very rare occasion that I didn't plan anything. I think it was led by him, and I just thought, you know what, just let's lose my mind, let's just go with it. So we paid our money, and yeah, it got very cold. We only had real lightweight stuff, and you know, with fishing at night time, you don't generally do a lot. You know, you sit around. So yeah, the weather got really cold, and we sat there, and I said, you know, are you okay? To my friend, and he, you know, slumped in the chair. He's getting cold. And he's like, oh, you know, I'm really cold. And I think this is the original where it comes from, because it was many years ago. And I think I looked at him and I was like, would you like a Ben Bear hug to keep you warm? And his eyes just brightened up, you know. So there we are, you know, two adult males in this, you know, this one tent, you know, giving my best friend a hug just to survive for the night. And yeah, I think it mainly comes, the bear part comes from that. You know, I basically like to give people nice hugs, give them nice bear hugs, and it kind of just stuck. You know what nicknames are like. They just stick around.
They do,
and then it just evolves, and it just, you know, they get worse. But you know, we'll stick with bear, and I'm happy with bear. So that's where it really came from.
For those paramotorists out there that, especially those that fly a Parajet, or specifically fly a Parajet, they might not realise how important the gentleman I'm interviewing is tonight, and his logistics and production role within the company. Can you just explain the vast array of responsibilities that you actually have within the corporation that is known as Parajet?
I mean, firstly, it's not just me at Parajet. Obviously, you know, I've got a great team behind me. You know, I like to give them all the credit. But yeah, you know, as the operations manager, I also manage the procurement. So obviously the goods in. I obviously manage the production, you know, the day-to-day workflow. I manage the logistics. So yeah, I've got quite a varied role within Parajet. But I mean, the main purpose of my role is just to make sure that the flow of goods in, goods out to the customer, you know, is kept. You know, it's going through the system. Everything's getting maintained. Things are getting purchased at the right time. Things are going to the right people. So yeah, you know, there's a lot of titles in there. You know, a lot of things. But yeah, apart from the sales, I've pretty much got, an involvement of the whole chain through Parajet. But like I said, I've got a great team with me. It's not just me. Like, I don't take all the credit. They don't let me build anything because, I'm not very good at building things apparently. But yeah, it's basically.
Yes, I have heard that secretly, that you're not very good at building things, but we'll come on to that later on about other things that you are good at actually building. So anyway, sorry.
Even then it's questionable. But yeah, basically my whole thing, the whole operations thing with Parajet is just to make sure that the day-to-day flow, is maintained, and just to make sure that the customers, get their beautiful machines in good time.
In my world of logistics, we have a very corny analogy that there's no fly without supply.
Yeah. And in this day and age, in this current climate, it's very, very difficult. But yeah, I mean, I just love the challenge. I love the challenge of the logistics world. We spoke before, my background and the involvement I've had with logistics. It's just something I've always gravitated towards. I've always enjoyed, the organized chaos, shall I say. And yeah, every day at Parajet is different.
It's putting that logic and order to chaos, isn't it?
Exactly. So yeah, it's a rewarding job. I work with some great people. But yeah, that's mainly me in a nutshell at Parajet.
Yeah. As you said, it's you and a team that are providing the elements that make stuff go out the door at the end of the day.
I always say to people, individually we're all very good at our individual roles. We're really good. But together as a team, we make up Parajet. We might be small cogs in the system, but those small cogs are.
Apart from the older fleet, I suppose you've had a hand in every single Parajet machine around the world, haven't you?
Yeah, and I mean, I mainly came on board when Mavericks were and still are full flow. But even now, I watch a lot of YouTube. I speak to a lot of people, and I sit there and I thinking this guy's flying his machine somewhere I can't even pronounce or never heard of, and I thinking all these machines around the world, they come from this small little factory full of these crazy people in the middle of England, and they don't come from anywhere else.
I've been to the factory. So you are all crazy.
You are all slightly on edge.
Kooky,
but yeah,
kooky.
Yeah. I mean, we're locked in a big, tin warehouse with miles of field around us and not much human contact. So we all get a little bit crazy from time to time. But yeah, it does amaze me that all these machines that we manufacture through the year, and the places they go to, obviously I get to see where they go to because I'm the one that's mainly sending them out. It just blows my mind. It just it's amazing to see
and rewarding to see, as you said, on the other end of the YouTube channel.
And I think that's one of our, I mean, I can't speak for other people, but definitely for me is when the customers do come and see us, when it's safe to do so, it's just engaging with the community and actually how something that we've made has completely fulfilled or changed their life. It's it's an amazing thing to see. And like I say, I really like to get involved with the community and speak to people and,
you are a people person, aren't you?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I like to give bear hugs, Giles. So,
Well, now we know where that comes from.
Yeah, I know. So embarrassing.
Clearly you work for Parajet. And I know for a fact you have the most unique machine in the world. Eric Farewell wants a Ruby, but is never going to have one. Sorry, Eric. If you're watching this, you're not going to get a Ruby.
I'll literally fighting for it.
Yeah. I think you'll win, mate, as well. The bear hugs are there. So how did you get into paramotoring?
I mean, for me, paramotoring wasn't something that fell on my lap. Obviously I work for Parajet, best place to be a paramotor pilot for Parajet. But it mainly started, when I was very young. I've got no aviators in my family, so getting into aviation was a real challenge for me. There was no easy route into it. My nearest gliding club was 45 minutes away. So I, like most people, and I expect a lot of your subscribers, started with RC. That's where it all began. So I did years and years of RC. I taught myself how to fly when I was like 13 years old, saved up some money for my first basic kit. And then, as the years got on, I was like, right, okay, this is really good, but actually it's me that wants to be in the sky. It's me that wants to be experience what my Bolsa airplane's feeling.
Yeah.
And so then that's where the drive came from. I mean, I didn't necessarily wanted to paramotor, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, paramotoring was, still quite small. But in the back of my mind, it's kind of like when like a plane flies over, or, I used to get to my local hill and the guys up there, they're paragliding. I was like, I should be doing that. That's where I want to, that's where I want to be. So kind of flying was always there, but it was always just out of reach for me. And then I think it was like 2014, I did a little bit of skydiving. I was like, this is what I want to do.
I've done it once, never again. You're bonkers.
Yeah. And actually, jumping out was great. And actually, I found myself actually really enjoying the canopy time. Like I was up there, it was the first real kind of view of what flying was like. And I, on this canopy, I was looking around, I was like, I can see for miles. Like, this is amazing. So obviously that then, it wasn't really an option for me, just started a young family. And I was like, right, paragliding is the way to go. It's easy, it's cheap, in terms of aviation. And, it was at that point where, I was doing some flying, with a big red streamer. And I was like, this is kind of not what I was expecting flying to be, and actually it kind of stresses me out in a way because, on a good day, you've got the pressure is when it's flyable, you've got to go to keep your skills up. If the lift's not great, you've got people flying towards you. 5% of the flying was more stressful than the fun part. People flying towards you. And I was like, this is really stressful. This wasn't what I kind of planned. And so I kind of, stepped between paragliding and then I went up to, flying some sailplanes for a few seasons. And I was like, this is great, loads of airtime, loads of time getting sunburnt, in the summer, towing gliders up and down.
Yeah.
And
running wingtips, moving aircraft
exactly.
around.
Yeah. Any aviation, I'm kind of like yourself, Giles, if aviation's involved, I can sit on a hill all day and just watch planes fly around, that's great. But sometimes there's that, like, I need to get in the air. So I did all the glider thing, and I did all the stuff, and I was like, right, now it's time to look at syndicates. I guess my main goal, I want to be a pilot of some sort before I was 30. That was the drive behind it. And then it got to syndicate time, and then I looked at the money, and I was like, I've just brought my first home.
Gliders are not cheap, are they?
No. Then even when you get a syndicate, and I was like, this is again, I really enjoy the flying, but it's not fitting for me. So yeah, then I did that. I kind of gave up on that idea. And then it was only really until, I got involved with, actually it was Mako Ball Sports, which is a sister company to Parajet. I started work there as the logistics manager. And then not long after, Parajet come over and we joined forces and we came to this big building, which is really great. And I was like, Parajets are on the scene, like, let's get involved. And so I was like, do you know what? And I was like, come to a point, I was like, I've got my family, I've achieved so much, with my foundation of my life, let's be serious now. Let's do this for me. I was going into it like really scared. The thought was always there that, is this a bad idea? It's a financial commitment. But yeah, I did my training. And I was completely, I've got no shame in saying this. I was completely petrified, Giles. The unknown. I've never been involved with any kind of motors. So like my previous history is jumping out of an airplane, going on a glider, going paramotoring. So an engine to me on my back spinning at 8,000 RPM, like, freaked me right out. I was like, this is madman sport. So yeah, I did my training. I was proud as punch. I walked into Tom's office, Tom PB, who's our sales director, and I said, "Hi, Tom." And he looked at me and said, "How's it going, Benny?" I was like, "I want to buy a Maverick. I want to become a pilot." And he looked at me with like the biggest eyes. Not because I was not because I was buying a Maverick. It's just because there's another one joining the community we had.
You stepped over that paramotor threshold.
I did step over that. And then not long after I come out of my training, I got a couple of flights in. I was very green. Sadly, again, we lost someone that was really, really close in our community. Again, another freak accident. And this was, literally a month after I'd done my training. And again, all those feelings of come back of going, is this right for me? Like, is this sport for you? Yeah, it was, I think back in, when was the Icarus? I think it was 2018 when I seen you at the Icarus X in the UK. That's correct. I hadn't flown probably 5-6 months. And it's actually when you guys took off I was actually trekked by Kester Hain, who's one of our crazy test pilots. He knew, and this is what's great about Parajet. He knew I wanted to fly. He knew this is what I wanted to do. I just needed that push to do it. So once you guys have all took off and you're on your route and you're out having fun, he's like, why don't you try Ruby on? And I was like, okay. So I put Ruby on my back, and he's like, just
how long had you had Ruby at that point?
2 years. Yeah, it was.
How many flights had you flown on Ruby?
6.
In 2 years.
In 2 years. So it wasn't very many. I mean, I say 6 is probably like 6 sessions with 2 or 3 flights in. But it wasn't many.
Yeah. So for those that don't know Ben and Ruby is Ben's paramotoring mistress, and she's red, gleaming, shiny, and expensive. And
I don't hide her. No, I got no shame.
So hopefully I'm going to put a picture up here and you'll see what Ruby's like.
Yeah, she's special to me. So she came about. So I obviously brought my Maverick, and one of the perks of working at Parajet is I've literally got all these sweeties on the shelf. There's colours everywhere. So actually, a good friend of mine, Dan, who's the build technician at Parajet, without me knowing, I was like, I want to do a red Maverick. I want to make it special, and he stripped all the engine down. I hadn't even pull started at this point. I've not even fired up. Stripped it all down, took everything off that could be anodized or coloured. We got it anodized red. He put it back together, and I walked in to work on, I think it's like a Monday or Tuesday, and I looked and was like, "Oh, is that mine?" He's like, "Yeah, I rebuilt it back up for you." So he, bless him, he built it up in his own time. Helped me run her in. But yeah, she is a one-off. She's real special to me because the history it's taken me to get here to actually own my own first aircraft is like, I've done it. Like it's an amazing feeling to have. So she's real special to me. She can't be replaced. And interestingly enough, Ruby, was the kind of name I give it because I've got a weird thing of just naming everything. Like my van's called Sasha. I don't know why.
For those that don't actually realize, Ben has got his own YouTube channel. It's called Clipwing.
Clipwing, yep.
Yep.
And basically that was because
I should know this because there's a sticker here.
That's my sticker.
There's a sticker here. Here's his sticker. Click. And you sent me a mug. Thank you very much for the mug. So where do you see your flight when we can finally get back out into the air? Where do you see your channel going? Because you've done a vast array of different things on your channel, apart from just showing Ruby flying with you. In some of the most picturesque evening flying I've seen in a long time. Where do you see your channel going? Because you've got as a helmet build in there, isn't there, which is quite unique.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did a helmet build that took far too long to edit, and I was like, "What am I doing with this?" I think it took like 5 or 6 days.
And then you went and bought one of those.
Yeah, and I was like, "Do you know what? This works really well. I've learned from it." And I was like, "Hi Eddie, can you build me a helmet?" He's like, "Sure, no problem." But I do have the helmet I build, and if you are watching and you follow it, it still works. It's still great. But yeah,
You went for a Microavionics PM100 in the end, didn't you?
I went for a very customized PM100, yes, that Eddie did for me. So yeah.
So you don't know about this, but there is someone you've helped in the past on a different continent that has sent me a question because he knew about this interview.
Okay.
So from Mr. Anthony Vella in El Paso, Texas. So if you went to the US, where would you most likely go and why?
I hear Texas is quite nice.
He is also a vlogger in America who Ben has helped out immensely over the years. He keeps breaking his machine.
He just breaks everything. Like he's a man that should be nowhere near machinery, like on any aspect of anything. But yeah, I hear Texas is quite nice. It's quite easy to get to.
And why would you be going to Texas then?
I mean, obviously for the desert. I have a fetish for deserts.
And flying with the best paramotor pilot in the world.
Yeah, apparently he lives around that area.
Yeah. So for those that don't know about Anthony Vella's channel, I'll leave a little link up here to his channel. He does some very, very good content, and as I said already, Ben is very, very familiar with having to send bits over to America to fix his machine. So I thought I'd just surprise you with that little question, all the way from America.
I just want to put a disclaimer, okay? It's not the Maverick's fault, all right? The Maverick does not break. It's just this man breaks everything, okay? It doesn't matter what it is. He breaks it. So yeah, I would definitely go visit him. He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, fair enough. So anyway, back to the interview now. Beyond those the sort of initial build videos that you've done on your channel, where do you feel your channel's going to go and when we can actually fly again?
Yep. So I spent the first year basically just recording, just as a learning tool for myself, really, not in a narcissistic way, but I can go back and go, okay, well, that landing was poor, or, I forgot that off my check, etc., etc. I didn't spearhead my channel anywhere. It's just, I put a couple of edits, I did a couple of test vlogs, just because I wasn't prepared for, obviously, the huge amount of work that goes in to make not only a watchable video, but an interesting video with the quality that people can watch. I watch countless amount of YouTube channels, but huge respect to the content creators. But when we're allowed back on, my flying style is XC. For me, going places is what I got into flying for. Flying over. I always have a long-standing joke with the A303. Like when I'm flying, I always give traffic alerts. Because you can just cheat, basically fly over.
I think you did that in one of your videos, didn't you? You gave the A303 traffic announcements on your vlog.
And it was advice that you gave me. You like, I know, and I was just like, you know what? Let's just talk about the A303. And I think I rambled on about the traffic for 15 minutes. Just talking about it. But yeah, when we're allowed back out, I've got some really good plans. I've got some landowner permissions, and I'm going to kind of do a lot of XC, fly into locations, bivvy up, take the whole...
bit of Paramotor Volbiv then.
Pretty much, yeah. Because it's my style. There's no point, trying to make content about something that I don't enjoy. It's forced. So, that's where my kind of channel's going to go, really, towards that kind of XE Volbiv experience.
So within the world of Parajet, is there actually anything you can tell me, or is it all non-disclosures and you cannot tell us anything that's coming up in the future?
We at Parajet naturally do a lot of R&D. I feel that we're one of the upper manufacturers, so we're always trying to... I can't tell you too much because obviously, it's a competitive market. But all I can say is, Parajet's part of an adventure company, so there's a lot of exciting things to come. And I guess, I can't speak on all of Parajet's behalf, but the main thing is going to be able to cater a little bit more to all of the community rather than just, a small bunch. So yeah, there is some really...
Stand by for stuff to come this year.
There is some stuff coming out, yeah, obviously with the current situation, but yeah, there is bits to do. So just keep an eye out.
That sounds quite exciting. I'll have to try and speak to Tom PB.
We might get you back. Yeah, we might get you back.
You've just given us so much about your life, your desire, your passion for getting into paramotoring, a bit about the Red Ruby and how that's influenced your life and your channel. But is there a paramotoring challenge you want to do? And I know you were there when we did the UK Icarus X, but is there something that you've got in your mind that you go, that's just going to blow everyone away? That's something I really, really want to do.
I mean, if we're being honest, I'd love to beat your high altitude record. I think that would be...
It's open to anyone. I'm not going to do it again.
But that is, you've done it. You know the logistics and the communication to do that. It's it can almost take over your life.
Yeah, it does.
So I don't think I'm not in a position. I'm naturally a busy guy. I don't have the focus to go after that.
But it's a team effort. That's the only thing.
It really is a team
things
effort.
like that, you can't do on your own. You are reliant on a team behind you. You're just the monkey in the seat when it happens.
But do you want to manage this? No, joking. I want to do some really long range stuff. Like that's kind of my get up. I'm not one of these guys that likes to go inverted and make myself feel ill. The long range stuff is always a challenge. And also things like navigating around airspace, like the navigation side. Is a real nice one, but on a whole, I'm there. I've done such hard work to get where I am. I'm always content with flying, boating around the sky with some friends, landing for a beer or a pop.
Generally a pop, not a beer.
Yeah, that's not flying. That's more than enough from me, Giles. Like that would. If that's what I did for the rest of my flying career as a paramotor pilot, I would be, content to do that.
I think most aviators would sort of latch onto that sentiment that we just enjoy being in the air. The moment our feet leave the ground,
exactly.
That soul starts getting filled with just aviation.
As the operations manager of Parajet, my life is very, very busy. Very busy at work.
You don't return my calls anymore, man. What's going on?
No, I apologize profusely. I try. So that hour-long flight, for me is literally that you can't concentrate on anything else. You're not thinking about, next week. You're not thinking about, the week you've just had. That's your moment of your peace, and to borrow some airtime with mother nature and to land at the end of it. And that's why some of my videos are like I give out these massive hoots. And it's just raw emotion that I've got to borrow some of that time from her. And I'm more than content with that for now, but you never know, I might go after your record one day.
Do it. I'll help you. So, brilliant, Ben. So thank you very much, Ben, for coming on this interview.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate your time. As I said, you are a busy man, and I've encroached on your evening and family time. Leave this video here. If anyone's got any questions, please drop them in the comments. And until next time, everybody, fly safe.